Good afternoon, good morning, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all of my conscious ones, my subscribers, and also maybe even a first time viewers that may be checking this video out. So, yes, it is Christmas, December 25th, a holiday that's celebrated, and for some, for others, they don't celebrate Christmas. So the purpose of this video is not really to, kind of zone in on like the traditional Christmas or the ways in which we know Christmas to be, but to look at a few themes that are that really a few themes that kind of encompass what Christmas is supposed to be about, or what we, society has created, and for whatever reason, this is what many of us celebrate at this time of the year. So for myself, I mean, Christmas time, it invokes a lot of different emotions for many of us. We look back at our childhoods, we look back at our past, our youth, and how Christmas, or, for those that may have grown up maybe Seventh-day Adventists, or, Jewish, whatever, for people that didn't celebrate necessarily Christmas, but for the sake of this video, um, we're talking about, people that kind of celebrate Christmas or grown up. For the most part, even if now as an adult you don't necessarily celebrate it, but the experience, the many experiences of Christmas time as a child. Unless, like I said, the exception is if you are of another faith or specific religion, so on and so forth. But for those who identify as, people that celebrate Christmas, I guess I'm speaking to you. But I'm hoping all people that's listening can still have an impact or be impacted even just by this topic, right? So now, for the people that have celebrated Christmas as a young child, you've grown up in a household that represents, the traditional sense of Christmas, starting with the Christmas tree, um, Christmas lights maybe at home, maybe even a lot of Christmas music being played. We see culturally how Christmas plays a role in terms of it being spread and it being something um, want more like pushed to be a universal thing. Although we know it's just not a universal thing. Like I said, many people do not celebrate Christmas. But so we start seeing the commercials, we start seeing just the gazillion different advertisements for the Christmas holiday, from, Starbucks, um, bringing out their gingerbread lattes and their peppermint candy cane um, lattes, very, indicative of the season, the Christmas holiday. We see it in media and television where, suddenly there's all these Christmas movies that come up. And so from childhood, many of us experience this. And so, Christmas mornings always started out as, waking up, making a mad dash to the tree, just in complete curiosity and hyper, just hype, just so much hyperness inside of you, so much anticipation, You know, you can barely sleep the night before. I know for many of us, especially myself, like Christmas Eve was always like, oh my goodness, I could not fall asleep. And it's so crazy because the time seemed to be like, oh my goodness. It's like, it seemed like an eternity for the sun to rise, or you see the break of day, and you kind of know it's safe to get up and get to that tree. And so for many of us, Christmas time really was a time, especially as children, when, like I said, the mad dash to the tree, and you know, um, just wildly tearing apart, the gift wrapping, and savagely just, you know, ripping open the packaging, and just this whole frenzy. But it was like so much, you were so happy as a kid, even if for many of us, at times there were many gifts. Maybe at sometimes there weren't so many gifts, and so, but still just having that complete like joy. And so that's what Christmas really meant to many um, growing up. That was the Christmas tradition. And then, after that time of opening gifts and starting to play with your toys, and just kind of exploring, your presents, then, shortly thereafter, um, you're smelling this, you're starting to feel an extra warmth, and it's coming from the kitchen. And that's followed by this waft and beautiful aroma of, like, sage and um, seasonings, and, like, you hear the chopping, and, the Christmas songs are playing. And particularly if you come from a black home, it may be some old, soul, Donny Hathaway, some Temptations, some good old classic R&B, official Christmas songs that your parents may be playing, or, and then you have your siblings. And, like, for me, um, it was such a beautiful time because a lot of times mom was in the kitchen cooking, and then my older sister was there cooking with my mom, and then I was able to be there, just kind of helping where I could and just watching. And it was just a vibe. People talk about a vibe. Oh, this is a vibe. Oh, that is a vibe. But, like, literally, in whatever circumstances, whether you're rich, poor, middle class, whatever, um, it was always, for the most part, a good time around Christmas time, even if it was crappy for a lot of times throughout the year, at the very least, even if it was one toy, you got something coming. And so, with that, it just allowed you to, just kind of, well, for many, just kind of, just appreciate, and so, that's a lot of our experiences as people, a young, as children, as we've grown up, um, and, kind of understanding what Christmas was, and so, um, with those experiences in terms of just what Christmas Day would look like, um, back when I was, like, in elementary school, kid, you would bring your toys, or a certain, like, if you had, like, a special toy that you received for Christmas, you would bring your toy to school. And, it was kind of like, not competition, but it was like everyone kind of bought their toy, and it's like, okay, everybody's, like, kind of sizing up everyone's toys. I don't know, that was my experience. But Christmas time was just like a real chill time, especially, like, when family came over that you hadn't seen for a while. And sometimes, it could get crunk, it could get cracking, Christmas time. or is a time that, yes, it's so cool and stuff, but for many of us, Christmas times was some crazy times. um I never witnessed a crump Christmas, but I remember my older sister telling me a story. Like, I think I probably was like a kid. This was like the 80s or whatever. And like the early 80s, I guess. So I would be like a little kid. And they were visiting, meaning my sister, my mom, I believe myself, and that would have been it, because I don't think my baby brother was born. Well, my younger brother, I don't think he was born yet. And so, anyway, so we went to my uncle's house, which was, downtown Brooklyn. And I guess my aunt, which is, my mom's sister, my uncle's sister, and some of her children, which were probably like teenagers. They were older, they're all older than even my older sister. So they probably were like teenagers and things. And so anyway, they came to the house, and my sister said, "Oh my goodness, like it wasn't even 5 minutes." Thank goodness social media and those things did not exist, because OMG, that probably would have went viral. Like, she said it wasn't even 5 minutes before, my aunt got there, and I guess like her somehow and my uncle must have had some verbal disagreement, but basically it got crump. And so, like, Christmas time is always it's a weird time, because it can, those family, feuds, if you will, or, sometimes, just some crazy, unpredictable things happen. And so those things are kind of funny. You look back at it, and even though they could have been a little crazy, it's still like a cool Christmas memory, right? Just like, the cool toy that you got. I remember one Christmas, I received this doll called Baby Skates. So now I'm really telling my age. So if any, especially women, if you're catching this video, and you were into dolls, when you were like a little girl, then maybe you might have heard of this doll, Baby Skates. And this was actually before Cabbage Patch, I believe, because I'm certain the Baby Skates was pre Cabbage Patch. So anyway, now this doll, Baby Skates. So it was a doll baby that had skates. And so now I was living, at this time as a little kid, we were living in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. Shout out to Bed-Stuy. Yeah, pretty much. That was like when I was a little kid. So I always kind of rep Bed-Stuy, definitely Bed-Stuy, Bed-Stuy. The whole Clinton Hill, Bed-Stuy area, that's, where my family kind of was is from, and particularly on my mom's side. Oh no, and on my father's side as well. So, yeah. But anyway, so now I get this doll, Baby Skates. I'm probably at least about I'm at least about 4, right? And so this is the early 80s. And so we're living in an apartment in Bedford Stuyvesant, my sister, myself, my mom, my dad. And I think my little brother um, was just a baby, right? So that's what I'm saying. This was like, early 80s. Anyway, so now this doll baby, it had skates. And so like it was something like where you had to kind of like push like pull it back, and then it kind of took off or went off. It was something like that. It wasn't a string. I want to say it could have been a string, possibly, that you pulled out and then it's supposed to skate. But anyway, so the floor in the apartment that we had, they were beautiful, original wood parquet floors, like really, really, not that fake stuff that they put into many apartments now. We're talking about really, really official wood floors, beautiful wood floors. But in the living room, the floor was not 100% leveled. So there was like a little, I guess, decline, if you will, and in the floor and in a part of the floor in the living room. And so once she went in that direction, like, she would stop. And so, I kept having to kind of, reroute her and, kind of pivot and turn and make her go in the directions where the floor for the, majority of the floor was, leveled. And so, but it's those memories, I remember getting the Snoopy ice machine and, making these slushies. And, it's dead of winter and I'm making slushies. To this day, I love ices in the winter time. Like, never been a huge ice cream person, but like, I really prefer slushies, ices, and especially when it's cold, I think that's obviously something from my, childhood. But yeah, so overall, it's like these Christmas memories, these times in our lives that, for whatever, you know, wherever we found ourselves in terms of our life situation, our parents' situation, our households, what they look like, what that time of our lives, what our environments was, overall, Christmas time was a time that, like I said, you look back at it now, and for me personally, I could say all of the Christmases were really, really fun and wild, and, just, they were good. So now, moving forward, when we talk about the Christmas holiday, right, and Christmas, particularly Christmas Day, or just the Christmas season, um, I want to talk about like the three gifts I believe that we that are like really, really integral parts of not just the Christmas time, but really, I would say, really, really, is something that can really help us, and it's something that can really, a way in which we can look at our own lives and look for these attributes. And by looking at them, perhaps we are able to do them more. We are able to engage in that at those energies and ultimately find, ultimately like unwrap the present, right? And really see the true gifts. And so with Christmas time, it's a time of joy, joy to the world, right? That's what the song says, joy to the world. So how do we, if that's the mission, right? If that's the purpose of Christmas time, or at least if that's something that for some reason society acknowledges only around Christmas time, which is weird to me. I don't understand why joy should be something that's just spread at this time of year. Joy should be something that, I mean, as cliche as it sounds, joy should be something that we are able to experience, something that we're able to cultivate, something that we're able to express and to share and to give and to receive. So, again, joy. How do we tap into the energy of joy? How do we look for it in our lives? How do we apply the attributes of joy? How do we begin to implement ways in which we can find more joy in our lives? How ways in which we can give more joy? How do we accomplish that? How do we spread joy to each other, to ourselves? How do we see joy in our lives? How do we recognize joy in our lives? Is joy something that's missing from our lives? How can we find more joy? How can we adapt a more joyous attitude? These are questions that are worth asking. And then, what is joy? How do you measure joy? Is it something abstract? Is it something tangible? What does joy look like? Does joy exist in conflict? Is joy only a result of the good times? Is joy only present when things are when you're happy? Can you find joy in times that may not be so happy, or times that you may not be at your best? Can you still spread joy? Can you still show kindness, if you will? Even maybe when you're even hurting, or maybe when, things are not been so kind for you. So we look at this umbrella of joy, right? And we look at the things and the ways and our understanding and our how we apply it, joy, how we measure joy, and what joy means for us. Because for you, joy may mean something different than joy for me. And ways in which I seek joy, or I believe, or I think that joy plays, comes up in my life, appears in my life, is a different way in which you see joy in your life. So, but then we look at joy just on a universal level, which it really evokes a positive energy. So if it invokes a positive energy, and we are all conscious energy, in my opinion, we all encompass joy. Now, if we tap into that joy, if we open up to that joy, if we seek that joy, then again, I think it can be a universal. It's a universal energy that it's available to us. But I guess if you're closed off, then you may think that joy happens as a result of something, or you don't look at it as being something that you have the power to to kind of to show that joy. You have the reins of cultivating joy, of planting seeds of joy, of sharing, like I said, in a positive way, which brings joy. And so, how do you bring joy to someone else? How do you bring joy to yourself? How do you, again, tap into the energy? Especially if you, like I said, may not be in an environment that's conducive to that. Maybe, you find yourself maybe in a bad relationship, or maybe you're in a job that you're not happy. Maybe, you're amongst a group of friends that you feel are really not there for you, or, have somehow, they're just not real, you know. Or you could just be kind of going through your, I don't want to say midlife crisis, but maybe an awakening. Maybe you're just getting to the point in your life that, you're just kind of trying to figure some things out. You're trying to kind of look at some things in a different way, a different light. Um, you don't want to continue really going in the same energy because, that's kind of been self defeating. That's been, um, that's not gotten you any gain, any, you know, you haven't been able to, ascend to any type of change or any type of betterment. So it's like, you know, um, let's tap into the spirit of joy. And joy is also a mindset too, like I said, even if, you may not feel so, or, but and when I see the word or hear the word joy, for some reason, the sun just is the image that I see. I just see the sun. That's all I see is the sun. So it's like, if you don't even have, like I said, joy is missing out of your life, or your joy has somehow been robbed, or somebody's stolen your joy, something's happened, or you just been maybe battling with something, and for whatever the case, your joy is gone. you know your joy is not gone. Trust me, it's not. That's what your unconscious self is telling you. That's what your past self is telling you, but it's not true. That's really not true. The joy, the energy is there. You just have to tap in. And I would just suggest that, when you find yourself, in a challenge, or maybe just, dealing with some conflicting feelings, some conflicting energies, or you find yourself kind of thinking back to the past of some negative, situation, or, something elicits just something very, something that's like limited belief, or some negative situation that, is playing in your head, or, you know, um, something someone said, just like you can't stop ruminating over it. It's like that's all lies. That's just that's a lower vibration. That's really, kind of has enveloped you. You have to get out of that. You have to reject that. And so, like I said, the joy is there. It's really about, like I said, tapping into it. And when you tap into it, just get an image of the sun in your mind. Just visualize the sun. Just trust me, just visualize the sun, the brightest, the most beautiful, the most warmest sun. Just visualize that. Just take some deep breaths and visualize the sun. And you'll start really feeling joy. Like, you will feel a different type of energy. Trust me, your vibration will shift. And so it's about really tapping in. And so joy is something that um, we shouldn't just look at as something that, we want to bring to the world. Um, at Christmas time, it's something that we should constantly ignite. We should constantly keep lit. We should constantly walk in it. We should constantly breathe it. We should constantly be reminded of it, and we should see it in what we do. And you'll be surprised how just your whole mindset shifts and your reality starts to shift. And so that's just like, ask yourself, does that not make sense to you? That if you just, kind of think about it in a different way, visualize it, see it for the benefits, the sun, because we know the sun is a rejuvenating energy. We know the sun is a reviving energy. We know the sun just brings so much um, just goodness to us. I mean, physically, mentally, spiritually. The sun, the light of the sun, the warmth of the sun, the love of the sun. And so, just like I said, if you can't find joy, and or you're understanding what joy really is about, or you're trying to understand or tap into more joy, you're trying to pull more joy into your life, you're trying to pull more joy into the ways in which you interact with people, the ways in which you see the world through the lens of joy, then you'll start really receiving those experiences, and those energies will manifest. They will come back. You'll experience more joy. You'll bring more joy into your life. You'll have more joyous feelings, more joyous energy, more joyous, just, you would just be totally, you know, that's a part of a huge transformation, to tap into that joy. So now, another attribute of the Christmas holiday season is peace on earth. Okay, so first it's joy, right? It's spreading that happiness. It's having joy within, because again, not to just to piggyback on my first point, which was joy. We know that the more happy we feel inside, the more we're gonna show that to, the collective, to the outer world. And so if it's been taken, you got the power to tap back into it. It can never be taken. That's only a mindset. That's a self defeating self, a negative self talk. And so switch that talk. Refrain from using those type of words or thinking like that. I know it's easier said than done, but with work, with discipline, with sincerity, we all have the power to change. We all have the power to manifest. We all have the power to call into our life the things that we want. We have the power to change the things that we no longer want and that no longer serve us. And so now, with peace to the world, right? Peace on earth, we have to have peace within, because I believe the reason why there's so much chaos and there's so much hate and there's not enough love in the world is because people have so much issues with themselves. People do not have peace within. So if you don't have peace within, just trickling off what I just said, it's what you have within and how you project it outward. So if you don't have peace within, many of us are people that do not interact with peace, do not spread peace, do not implement peace, do not create peace. We don't live in peace. For many of us, we live and function in chaos, function in dysfunction. We lack so much self-realization, so much self-love. We lack the ability to really dissect and look at ourselves, look at the ways in which we have not walked in peace. We have not acted out of peace. We have not displayed peace. We have not sought peace. It's like, for many of us, it's like so used to the conflict and the dysfunction and the battles, right? That, your peace is conflict. You can't thrive. You can't function. You can't exist. You can't go a year or maybe 6 months without some type of drama in your life, some type of issue in your life, some conflict, some tragedy. And I don't when I say tragedy, I don't mean tragedy in the word of something being horrific or something being very anything in that way. I mean tragic in terms of just ridiculous. How many of us just, like I said, just really always drama? It's always something. There's never any peace. Your peace now has been reduced to conflict. You don't even know what real peace looks like because you always have an issue. Whether it's with the grocery cashier, whether it's with the teller at the bank, you know, whether it's with the neighbor, whether it's with a coworker. Like there's always something. There's never a peaceful moment. And so what do we say to those who just, just wallow in constant drama? Like their lives are a never ending, like, I don't know, like a novel, a reality show, a horror movie, just a hot mess. Just a cat on a hot tin roof. Just ridiculous. Just a hot mess. It's just like, so, it's really ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. And so, how do we look at peace? Okay? Is it just like, do you think it's just peace and quiet, getting away, having a few minutes or a few hours of silence? I mean, what does peace look like? How do you define peace? Is it just like, never, do you think it's like, oh, I have peace. It's like, I'm never going to experience an issue. I'm never going to have like, a conflict. There's never going to be some type of disagreement. No, that does not denote what peace really is about. Peace is just, I think, having kind of like a even kiltered kind of temperament where, yeah, you're going to always go through challenges in life, as is the thing called life. So there's always going to be something. You may disagree with the mechanic that wants to, you feel that overcharge you, you may, whatever, there'll always be something like we know, like life is not a box of chocolate, right? Exactly. No, actually, life is a box of, no, it's not, whatever. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's always going to be filled with a certain amount of tests and challenges. That's not because, we are horrible people. That's not necessarily because, it's some type of karma. No, it's actually like for your good. It's like, challenges and these type of conflicts, sometimes it's important that because we have to learn something. There's something that we have to learn. It's something that we have to master, or something, even if we're working on it, something happens just to say, okay, keep going. You're on the right path. Or, it's the reverse where, something occurs and now you understand, darn it, nope, not for me, gotta go. And so it's about having an understanding, and I believe like really tapping into the yin and yang in your life, like understanding the balance, understanding that life, there's an ebb and there's a flow, like understanding that everything happens when it's supposed to, being aware that nothing happens before its time. I know these things may sound cliche, but consciously speaking, it's true, and that's why, again, people can like be the best at something. You could like be really good at something. You could really put in a lot of work and effort, and then you may apply yourself for something, or believe that you're ready for something, or just believe that you should be gradually moving on to the next level. But sometimes it doesn't work that way. Sometimes it's still a lesson. It's still something that you need to know. And so it's not going to happen for you. It's something that, there's something that, there's a missing link somewhere. And so that's why it won't happen for you until it's supposed to happen for you. And a lot of us, we can't understand for the life of us, like, darn it, why can't this happen? Or why not me? Or whatever, but again, it's not your time. And so that's a sort of, when you can understand these ways in which life exists, and then you're able again to find peace. That's peace. When you're able to understand that the more things you try to control, the more ways in which you try to force things, a lot of times it's the opposite effect that you're going to have. It's not going to bring it in. It's not going to bring it about. It's actually going to delay it. It's going to keep it always away. And so, again, the peace, having the peace on earth is, I think it's inner peace first, because when you can kind of tame, or you can really sit back and really explore, really internalize ways in which you have to surrender, where, the power is in you, and you have to surrender to your higher self. Not surrendering to anyone, but surrendering to the higher consciousness within you, your higher self that says, you know what, that person just said something stupid to me, or that person was rude, and my unconscious self, which is my past self, would have been so quick to, like, boom, react. Or my unconscious self, which is really a lower consciousness version of myself, I'm so, like, easily, like, ruffled. Like, who cares if somebody says some stupid crap to you? Who cares if somebody is rude to you? Like, when you're, like, awakened, it doesn't matter. Like, that person can act like a little douchebag. That's fine. That's on them. And so it's really about, like I said, tapping into that higher consciousness and your higher self. And your higher self will say, you know what? That butthole isn't worth your time, day, or even second of your energy. Like, who cares? They're ignored. Actually, now you're invisible. Now you're not even worth me even acknowledging. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what your higher self says. That's when you operate out of peace. And when you have that peace and you project that to that person, because for all you know, that person is very angry, very unhappy, very miserable, very disillusioned, just really, like, in other words, hate their lives, And so these people have no peace, They're suffering internally. They're full with anguish. And God, listen, I'm not a judge, It hurts because they're still a part of the collective. And so the pain, I hurt for that. For it, because, like I said again, that's the consciousness. We're all a collective. And so, unfortunately, they didn't tap in, to the light. They haven't tapped in to the divine within them. So now they're walking around with these low vibrational energies, and they're operating from a place of low vibration. They're operating out of a place of anger and confusion. And so, again, but as a conscious one, as a collective, as souls seeking divine consciousness, it's important that we, again, peace. We even spread peace to those collective ones that, may not have really, they haven't turned on the light yet, right? They're still in the darkness. So peace is something that not only do we spread around now the holiday time, the Christmas time, peace on earth. I would hope that this dimension that this 3D plane, that our collective souls are having um, a physical experience in. I would hope that this dimension, that this plane would raise its vibration. I would hope that it could be a place, possibly, that could be peace, that could be peaceful. I mean, if I had to keep it all the way 100 with you, if I had to be just like totally sincere, I would say that, and I'm an optimist, you know, like I'm definitely a person that looks at the glass as half full. Um, but I mean, I think it's possible, you know. I never think that anything's impossible, you know. That's my energy. That's my spirit. I operate out of the energy of, you know, anything's possible. You know, we have the power. Our collective ones, we have the power. The love, the light, the sun, it all exists within us. We are um, our biggest manifestors. We are our biggest healers. We are our biggest teachers. And so our souls are just experiencing what we are, you know, the path and the missions that we find ourselves on in this life. Okay? We don't know what the next life will be, or the next dimension will be, or how our energies will transmute and transform. But one thing I know for myself is that, you know, I'm so I guess I'm just I'm really hopeful that I will continue to um, journey on and continue to just fulfill my purpose, and just bring source to the collective, to uplift the collective, to engage the collective, and together, you know, let's just continue to raise the veil. You know, let's turn on the lights. You know, the light is within us. Turn on the light. Let's get out of the darkness. Let's get out of the shadows. Let's get out of the dysfunction. Let's get out of the anger, the resentment. Let's get out of the pain. Let's get out of the past. Let's get out of, you know, our mistakes, our wrong choices. Let's get out of the hurt, or, you know, um, let's get into the love. Let's get into the peace. Let's tap into the light. Let's always tap into the light, right? Because the light is what leads us home. And home, I don't mean a physical home. I mean to the divine consciousness, to a place where, you know, we are just so cognizant of the true reality. We are no longer asleep. We are driven. We are diligent. We are demanding a new way. We are shifting into a new understanding, and it feels good. It really feels good. And so again, this is New Life for Evolution. I thank my subscribers for subscribing. I hope that this video, you found something worthwhile, something worthy of maybe further exploration. Maybe you have a suggestion. Maybe you have some insight. What has your experiences been regarding joy in your life? Joy, how do you see joy in the world? How does joy show up in your life? How are you an active participant in joy, in the energy of joy, and bringing joy to yourself and others? And then peace on earth, right? How do you find peace for yourself? Do you have peace? And if you have peace in yourself, in what ways do you show peace? In what ways do you identify the need for peace and guidance to others? How do you show peace? How do you, help others to have peace, or to, how do you model peace? How do you demonstrate having a peaceful spirit? Um, how do you give more, like I said, give more peace to the world? How do you inflect, and how do you give to, how do you give peace? And so I have about less than 10 minutes. And so my final point is going to be the third attributes, one of the third attributes of Christmas, which is good tidings, right? So first we had joy, right? Joy to the world. How does joy show up? How do we identify joy? How do we give joy? How do we receive joy? Our second point was peace on earth. How do we live in peace? How do we give peace? How do we receive peace? How do we teach the spirit of peace? How do we model peace? Okay? How do we strive for peace? What do we do to ensure that we operate in peace? Right? And now finally, my final point is good tidings. So these are all attributes of the Christmas season, of the holiday season, in which we find ourselves maybe just being reminded of more, or we just maybe feel the need to, or these things are just somehow, they're more prevalent, or they're more active in our lives at this time of year. So now, good tidings. This is what I end my video with, good tidings. So good tidings, this is really giving. This is a spirit of really sharing, right? And so I think this, if anything, is just kind of, I guess I would draw a lot of similarities with Christmas itself and good tidings. And so I look at good tidings as giving of, and not just giving of material gifts, but giving in a way that just enriches the soul, that strengthens the spirit, that incites togetherness, that incites happiness. Again, I have to go back to joy. That brings a sense of joy. So good tidings would be not only just giving gifts. I think that's a part of it, and physical gifts or material gifts, but it's the gift of service, the gift of kindness, the gift of just even a smile, the gift of just having positive thinking. To me, that's what good tidings are about. Feeling good, wanting well, wishing people well. When you think of people, like, sometimes, for whatever reason, we get caught up time, or we're just so busy. People are like just so kind of into themselves. And, that could be a bad thing. That could be a good thing, depending on the person and the context. But it's like, I feel like, again, with these good tidings, yeah, it's wonderful to pick up a phone and say, call a friend, or call a loved one, or call maybe a coworker, or someone that maybe, may not have a lot of family, or maybe new to town, or may just have, recovered from sickness or illness, or someone that may just be having a bad time financially, or someone that may just be going through some relationship issues, maybe a parent that's having issues with their child, maybe there's some issues with some siblings, or maybe a parent, or, you're dealing with the illness of a parent, or maybe even the death of someone close, right? And so it's so many things, right? But I think that, yes, good tidings would be, yes, to call someone, to, physically maybe visit them. But good tidings is also, to me, everything starts in the mind. Everything is about intentions. And so you may not be able to go out and like maybe give to the poor, or you may not be able to go out and like maybe visit someone that's sick. But good tidings would also be, you know what, you just think of that person. You're at home, you know, maybe you're having a cup of coffee, or maybe you're preparing lunch, or you know, maybe you're just sitting, maybe looking out the window, maybe just like listening to like a song, or like, who knows, you may be cleaning up, you may be doing chores, whatever it is, and you think about that person, and you just like think about like a good time with that person. You think about a positive memory. You think about a moment that, you know, you guys maybe laughed, maybe you guys like even you know, cried, or had like, and not in a bad way, but you know what I'm saying, like think about something positive, you know, and then, you know, infuse it with that joy, infuse it with those good vibrations, those feelings like, you know, wow, you know, like it's always a good time with that person. Like we always laugh, or, you know, whatever it is, you know, and that act, that small act, which you may think is small, or it may seem small to others, but that little act, you don't know what you did. That holds weight. You understand? Perhaps maybe even more than a visit or even a phone call, because again, it's a energetically you're sending them good wishes. Okay, vibrationally, you know, it's raising your vibration, and it's raising theirs as well. So again, good tidings, yes, it's, to me, it's a thing that like portends like, you know, a physical act. You know, you're giving, you're doing something, there's some movement, you know, good time, well, not necessarily movement, I don't want to say that, but you know, it's about like an action. You're doing something, you're giving something, you're spreading something, you're sharing something. And so but don't forget that good tidings are just simple acts of kindness. Okay, holding a door for someone, you know, maybe letting someone get ahead of you in the supermarket, and they may have like 4 or 5 items, maybe they may have more than you. It's just those simple acts of kindness, you know. Just like I said, not even, you know, even if someone is rude to you, even if someone is a total doodle head, like, don't react in that way. Don't feed that energy. Don't match that energy. You know, have good tidings, you know. And your mind, you know, perhaps they having a rough day. You know, you just tell yourself that, you know, wow, you know, that's unfortunate. Because guess what? We all have had a bad day, but the difference is not all of us like just go out and like try to be nasty and, you know, put that energy and, you know, direct that to other people. No, most people, I don't believe, do that. But for those that do, you know, it's unfortunate, because you don't have to do that. You know, there's ways that you can release that anger and that frustration in a constructive way, where you don't have to hurt anyone. You don't have to physically or verbally attack someone. You don't have to try to, you know, you don't have to begrudge them for their light. I'm sorry, because the light is available to everyone. Okay, so on this Christmas day and this Christmas holiday, I hope that you can find the light. I I send you good vibrations, all of my viewers, all of my subscribers. If you are not a subscriber, please subscribe to my channel. This is New Life Raw Evolution. On this channel, the content is always about, again, sending love, operating out of love, light, understanding, kindness, engaging my collective, seeking higher consciousness, ultimately seeking the divine light, the divine love, being able to get there. If not in this life, the journey continues, and it's always going to be love. It's always going to be love. I thank you for my first-time viewers. If this is your first time watching, hey, if you like what you heard or felt any type of connection, how about you subscribe to my channel? Hit the like button. Hit the notification so you'll get notified when I go live or when I put up another video. Also, to my subs, also hit the notification. That's the bell right next to the subscribe button, so you can be the first to know and be the first called when it's time to engage, when it's time to lift the veil. And so I thank my subscribers. I thank my first time watchers, viewers. I'm sending you love, light. You're my conscious ones. And again, don't let this season just be, about Christmas. Don't let the Christmas season just be about Christmas. Don't let it just be about what society has told us. Open your eyes, open your mind, open your spirit. Okay? Joy, peace, and good tidings, but not in a way that we always have been told, but in a way that nurtures our soul. And in effect, we're able to give those things to others. Until next time, new life raw new life raw evolution. Got a little tongue tied there. All right. So my conscious ones, subscribe to the channel. Viewers, subscribe, hit the like, share. Until next time, conscious ones.